penguin, stranded on a narrow floe, shivered violently, its feathers slick with frost. The waves crashed against the ice, sending sprays of frigid water that made the bird huddle tighter, every movement a desperate struggle against the relentless cold. From a distance, researchers and tourists watched. Some murmured, some shook their heads. "It's nature," one said, throwing up a gloved hand. "Let it fend for itself." Another laughed uneasily. "It won't survive. Just leave it." Emily ignored the whispers, moving with determination. Samuel, her field partner and local ranger, hurried beside her, scanning the fractured ice nervously. "Emily, are you sure about this?" he asked, his voice tight with concern. "That floe could break any second. The tide's rising." Her eyes didn't leave the penguin. "There's no time to hesitate," she said firmly. "I won't let it die." The wind whipped snow into her face, and her breath fogged inside her goggles. She crouched slightly, hands visible and open, speaking in a soft, soothing voice. "I'm not here to hurt you. You're safe. Trust me." The penguin flinched at the sound, but the shaking lessened slightly. Its wide, panicked eyes followed every cautious movement Emily made. Days alone, ignored by locals, battling the elements, had left it weak and frightened. One wrong step from her could send it into the freezing water and into certain death. Suddenly, a crack split the ice. A chunk broke away. Sliding into the churning sea, the penguin teetered dangerously at the edge. Emily moved faster, sliding across the ice, gloved hands reaching out to secure the tiny creature. "I've got you. It's okay. One step at a time." Behind the snowdrift, movement flickered. A poacher crouching, camera and net in hand, had been tracking rare wildlife in the area. His eyes gleamed with intent as he advanced toward the stranded bird. Emily didn't flinch. "Step back," she called, voice calm but firm. "This penguin is not yours." The poacher sneered, moving closer. "Nature's weaklings are mine for the taking," he spat. "Move aside, lady." Emily adjusted her approach, inching closer to the penguin while keeping an eye on the intruder. "You will not take him. He's alive, and I'm not leaving him here." Her call sign, Shadowpaw, whispered in her mind, a reminder of every life she had saved under impossible conditions. The penguin shivered violently, its tiny body trembling against the wind. Emily's hand hovered over its back, careful not to startle it. "Easy. I've got you. You're safe now." The ice beneath them groaned, sending a wave of tension through the frozen landscape. A sudden snap from a distant ridge startled the penguin, wings flapping in panic. Emily reacted instantly, steadying it with gentle hands. One step at a time. "You can do this," she whispered. Samuel moved to block the poacher's path, shouting and waving, buying Emily precious seconds. The tide was climbing, ice cracking, each second fraught with danger. Emily's movements were precise and controlled, coaxing the penguin toward a more stable patch of ice closer to where their support team would meet them. Above, snowflakes began to fall, thick and heavy, turning the world white. Every gust of wind threatened to destabilize the flow. Emily's hands brushed over the penguin's small wings, speaking soft, melodic reassurances. "Almost there. Almost safe. I've got you." From the distant ridge, headlights cut through the grey haze. Dr. Leanne Mora, the chief wildlife veterinarian, arrived with 2 officers. Their presence shifted the balance. The poacher froze, realizing he was outnumbered. Emily's gaze returned to the penguin. Its trust returned slowly, tiny movements now guided by her voice and gentle hands. The ice beneath creaked ominously. The tide rose, the storm intensified, but Emily advanced, every step deliberate, every breath measured. The penguin let out a soft, frightened chirp. Emily whispered back, "Almost there. Just a little more. You can make it." The frozen landscape seemed to hold its breath, the wind stilling slightly, as if the entire world were waiting to see whether this small life would be saved. The poacher backed away, frustrated, while Emily inched closer to her goal. Samuel stayed vigilant, ensuring no threat approached from behind. The flow was narrowing, the waves crashing closer, but Emily's steady hands and calm voice anchored the penguin's fear. Each step was a battle against nature, against human greed, against time itself. And somewhere in the storm, a small heart trusted her. Emily's gloved hands tightened around the penguin as the ice shifted beneath them. A sharp crack sounded nearby, sending a tremor through the flow. Samuel's voice cut through the wind. "Emily, the tide's rising faster than we thought. Move." Her heart pounded, but her face remained calm, every movement deliberate. "I know, just a few more steps. Trust me." The penguin's small body trembled against her, wings flailing. Its tiny eyes, wide with panic, reflected the grey storm clouds above. Emily murmured soft reassurances, her words a lifeline in the roaring wind. The poacher, Davi Muro, crouched a few feet away, his net glinting under the dim light. "Step aside," he shouted, voice sharp, but the officers approaching behind him made him hesitate. Emily's gaze locked with his, calm and unwavering. "You're not taking him. Step back, or face the consequences." Dr. Leanne Mora moved swiftly, assessing the ice and preparing a secure transport box for the penguin. Her presence brought authority and hope, but Emily knew the real challenge was still the treacherous flow and the bird's fragile trust. A sudden gust of wind caught Emily off guard, whipping snow into her face. The flow tilted slightly, and the penguin chirped frantically, wings flapping. Instinct and training took over. Emily adjusted her grip, lowering herself to the ice, keeping her center of gravity steady. "Easy. I've got you," she whispered, pressing the tiny bird gently against her chest. Samuel circled the poacher, positioning himself to block any sudden move. "Back off, Davy," he barked, adrenaline sharp in his tone. The poacher's grin faltered. Emily took the momentary advantage to shift toward a more stable patch of ice, guiding the penguin, inch by inch. The storm intensified. Waves crashed against the edges of the flow, sending sprays of freezing water into the air. The penguin trembled violently, feathers slick with ice. Emily's voice was calm, low, and melodic, each word measured to anchor the bird's fear. "Almost there. Just a little more. You're safe now. You're safe." A distant crack echoed ominously. Emily's mind raced. One misstep could plunge both of them into the icy water. She adjusted her stance, calculated every movement, and whispered to the penguin, "We're going to make it. Trust me. Trust me." Finally, they reached the edge of the stable ice where Dr. Mora waited, box open and ready. Emily knelt, carefully lowering the penguin into the transport container. Its tiny body pressed against hers for a fleeting second, and she whispered, "It's okay. You're safe now. I've got you." The poacher took a step forward, attempting to lunge, but the officers flanked him, weapons drawn and authority undeniable. "Stay back!" one shouted. Davi froze, realizing his chances of seizing the bird had evaporated. Emily rose slowly, breathing heavily, but maintaining composure. The penguin chirped softly, still frightened but calmer now. Dr. Mora secured the box, checking the bird for signs of frostbite or hypothermia. "He's going to be all right," she confirmed, her voice steady but relieved. The storm's fury gradually eased, the wind softening, the waves less violent. Emily's eyes followed the penguin as Dr. Mora lifted the container carefully onto the sled for transport back to the sanctuary. The tiny life, once teetering on the edge of death, was now safe, a testament to skill, courage, and unwavering empathy. Villagers who had been observing from a distance began to approach cautiously, their expressions a mixture of awe and newfound respect. I thought it would die," muttered one, voice trembling. "I never thought anyone would risk themselves like that." Emily met his gaze. Mud and snow streaked across her face and offered a small, tired smile. "It's not about risking yourself. It's about acting when no one else will. Every life matters. Even the smallest, even the voiceless." Samuel approached, shaking his head in disbelief. "I've never seen anyone so calm, so in control, under this kind of pressure." Emily's eyes followed the transport team as they began moving back across the ice. It's about listening, observing, and acting. About understanding fear and turning it into trust. She glanced once more at the poacher, who had slunk back toward the tree line, defeated. "Compassion is stronger than cruelty," she added quietly. The sun pierced through the storm clouds briefly, reflecting off the ice and shimmering like silver across the frozen landscape. The penguin's soft chirps inside the container were the first sounds of life triumphing over danger. Emily felt the familiar rush of relief, exhaustion, and quiet pride. Dr. Mora placed a reassuring hand on Emily's shoulder. "You've reminded everyone here why we do this work. Courage isn't just facing danger, it's facing it with compassion." Emily nodded, eyes on the horizon. For every life that cannot speak, someone must be willing to listen, to act. That's what makes a difference. That's what changes the world, one life at a time. The team began the trek back toward the research station. Behind them, the frozen expanse seemed to breathe again. The storm had passed, leaving only the pristine whiteness of ice and snow, the occasional distant call of a penguin colony, and the lingering echoes of bravery and empathy. As Emily walked, she reflected on the day's events, the tension, the danger, the split-second decisions, and the quiet connection between a human and a small, fragile life. In that connection, the silver-backed memory of courage and the tiny heartbeat of trust, she found a reminder of why she dedicated herself to the voiceless. Somewhere, amidst the snow and ice, a life had been saved. And in that frozen wilderness, the echoes of compassion would linger long after the storm had faded.